Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. Today is Saturday, February 3rd. I'm your host, BullMuscle. Welcome to the show. I'm sorry we're starting a bit later, just a couple minutes behind schedule here. Mother Nature called again. It's the second day in a row that's happened. I really do try to, handle business before I come out here, but when your body says, "Yo, I need to go," you kind of have to listen to it. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about that. So we're gonna start. We're gonna do a little bit of. Today's an orange-free day. No burnt or creamsicle orange today. Hell yeah! Only oranges I'm planning on interacting with are the bag of navel oranges I bought yesterday at the store. Tastes pretty good too. Start off some jump rope. That's not a good start. Really? There. Okay, just not having a good run of it so far today. Let's try again. Let's face the camera this time. Maybe that'll help. That'll do. Tired of that. All right. So, what do we got going today? Well, we have ourselves press day. So what does that mean? Well, I was referring to Tennessee. Okay, so Tennessee, the Vols are playing your Wildcats tonight. That's always that's a real underrated rivalry, I think. In football, now that Kentucky is I think under the Stoops years, it's become a much more interesting rivalry in football. And now that Calipari is kind of, I don't want to say fell off, but a little bit, and Tennessee's gotten a little bit better in basketball, I feel like those two programs are a little bit more aligned in both sports, and therefore the rivalry is more entertaining than perhaps it used to be. Just my own thoughts on that one. So, we got press today, as I was saying, and I will probably go shirtless pretty shortly here, but I wanted to show this shirt off. So I got this after the Puerto Rico trip from the roommate. It's a Mofongo shirt. So, for those of you who don't know what mofongo is, it's if you're Puerto Rican, you know what mofongo is. They really, really like mofongo down there. It's pretty good. It's like, if you took mashed potatoes, made them way more flavorful, but you made them out of plantains instead of potatoes. That's the best way I can describe it. And then you usually add some sort of sauce and then either meat or vegetables on top of it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Definitely, there's a lot of really cool, interesting, unique Puerto Rican foods that they're very, because of the climate, the tropics, they're very different from the rest of the United States. You've got pernil, you've got lechon. And lechon right there is proof that if Puerto Rico ever actually does fully become a U.S. state, it deserves to be in the South because that is a unique style of barbecue. Welcome to the South, Puerto Rico. You deserve to be here. Hell, it's perfect too, because that finally gives us an excuse to kick Maryland out. Anyone who says Maryland is part of the South has not been to Maryland. Go play with the Yankee states. We don't want you. What's funny too is, of course, all the Yankee states will say the same thing. Go play with the South, and we don't want you. Nobody wants Maryland. This is basically what I'm getting at here. I'm feeling a little Rats in the Cellar this morning, a little Aerosmith. But my headphones are not pairing. So we'll go ahead and do a warm-up set before I knock those out. Just stand in here. bar, oh, I grabbed that way too wide. It's just. We got wide grip. God, I'm so glad I don't have to do wide grip anymore. I get to do pin press instead. It's be way more fun. I don't have to do behind the neck either. But I really like the stretch, the range of motion. Like just keeping the bar here, right? I'm not resting this on my shoulders. I'm just holding it very close. It's stretching out my delts. Feels really nice. Oh yeah. Hey, I'm Lennon. Hell yeah. Nobody wants Maryland, not even the Colts wanted Maryland. That's what I'm saying. Just kick Maryland out of the South. See, Kentucky will always be part of the South because even though y'all keep getting invaded by Ohioans, like you're our first line of resistance against them. And y'all make the bourbon, therefore Southern. It's really as simple as that. And before any Marylanders come in here and say, oh, but we got the crabs. There's nothing better than a Maryland blue crab. You import most of your crabs from Louisiana these days because the Chesapeake Bay has a bunch of hypoxic zones because a bunch of farmers in the Susquehanna couldn't get it together and they keep dumping chemicals into the bay. Like the blue crab population in Maryland's gone down the toilet. I'll actually give a little bit of credit to Maryland here. Maryland itself isn't the problem. There are actually pretty strict environmental laws on what you can dump into rivers in terms of like ag runoff in Maryland. The problem is Pennsylvania and Virginia don't follow those laws. And so everything that comes down the Susquehanna goes straight into the Chesapeake Bay, you know, from central PA farmers that just don't give a fuck. Oh, the ZYZZ pose. Okay. Monkey, I will do that, but I want to do that. If I'm going to do that, you deserve to see it shirtless. And if you deserve to see it shirtless, I want to warm up a bit more. So let me go ahead and hit one more warm-up set real quick. But I will do that pose for you. That's fair. I'm not good at it, so I need to practice it. I know it's one hand up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at it and make sure. Okay, cool. Now we're rolling. Now we got Bluetooth on, so I can play little rats in the cellar. All right. Now this is only 125. Again, we're just warming up. Alright, so we're going 85% today. If our target weight's 225, it means 191 is going to be what we're looking for. We're gonna do the same thing that we did yesterday in terms of volume. So we're doing threes. So 85% is going to be 190 pounds. So that's 125, 165, and no. It'll be 195, 185, 190. I think I should be able to get this for 3 with no real issues. We'll see. Even come get rats inside. Skins are turning yellow. All right. I don't know what you said. I wasn't looking, but generally speaking, I'm pretty cool with free speech. Just Yeah, the only thing I request from my audience is don't say something that'll get me kicked off of Twitch. Fair? Okay? So, you know, basically, don't come in here spewing racial slurs, and you'll be fine. Like, right? Like, if you want to do that, that's what 4chan's for. Go there. Anyway, so the ZYZZ pose, and I'm gonna look at it real quick because I want to make sure I do it correctly, or at least ZYZZ. I always forget exactly how to do this, so I want to make sure I've got it right. Okay, so it's one arm up here. Okay, so it's gonna be the other way. So it's gonna be left arm up here, right arm flexed. Okay, okay. I think I'm gonna do that. Let's see. You guys probably want to see it all the way up. And looking up, hips locked. There we go. Hope that's what you're looking for there, monkey. All right. Now, where were we? All right. Now, Rats in the Cellar is a fantastic song for like high rep stuff, less so for high weight, low rep stuff. This is a 3-rep set, so we're gonna go something a little different then. We're gonna go with, I'm gonna stick to Burnt by Cardinal Official because I've been hitting good sets with that on shoulder press. Make sure you can see me. So I come out. If anything, I bring you guys in a bit. No problem, monkey. Yeah, Ramo, I don't know what you said, so don't worry about it. That's all good. I'll assume it was an innocent mistake or something. Pin places here for now. It's not really necessary. We'll use these later for pin press. Okay. Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna have you guys back here. I want y'all to make sure, you know, my press is pretty strict now that I'm thinking about it. So I'm gonna tilt it down a bit. Yeah. Let's see. I'm here. Yeah, that gives you guys a good perspective. Perfect. All right, make sure I got this right. 35, 125, 160. Wait a minute. 35, 125, 175. No, this is 200. That wouldn't be what we're looking to do here. No, we don't want to be doing that. Not yet. My bad. I miscalculated. I kept thinking in my head, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. I think I did something wrong here, and I did. I did not add the weights properly. So you can see where my brain is this morning. My brain's still asleep. I'm still waking up. My apologies. 35, 125, 175, 195. Wait. 35, 125, 175, 185, 190. Perfect. Sorry about that. All right. Let's go. That's not bad. I felt pretty confident. How'd it look? How'd it look, y'all? It felt pretty good. I think I'm gonna go for 195 here. Actually, before I do that, can I get a confirmation chat? How's the form on that? It's hard to explain. Like when I'm doing these exercises, it's hard for me to like pay intimate attention to the camera and like focus on my form while I'm doing it, right? I have a focus. I look kind of square at the center of the stars in the United States flag I have up ahead of me because it's a focus. It gives me a good focus point. It's how I've trained myself. So because of that, I'm not necessarily looking at the camera even if I'm facing the camera. And so I kind of rely on you guys for feedback. So would really appreciate something. If that form looked good, you know, if I was locking out, it felt like I was. Didn't feel like I was using my legs at all, really just, it felt solid, you know, for a 3. So would really appreciate the feedback. And it looks like I will not be getting any, so we'll persevere. We'll go 195. That's fine. I'll make it do. Oh, here we are. Hey, Allie, you just got here so you missed it. But if you want, I can spot you in the next reps. Please form check me. What I'm really trying to do is establish strict form. This is supposed to be, you know, not a military press. I'm not necessarily keeping my feet like locked together, but you know, it should be a shoulder press. I'm not trying to use anything below the waist here. Hey, formerly 5IT, welcome on in. Thanks for the first time chat. How you doing? Go ahead and take this off. Go to 195. And this is, again, we're only 3 repping today for these 2 sets, and then the next set I'm going to do is going to be, I'm going to be doing as many as I can. Are you bulking right now? Sure am. I have been since November. You've been away for a minute, Allie, I think. I'm glad to see you back, though. Excuse me for 1 second. All the caffeine this morning. Yeah, I weighed in at 229.2 today. I've been kind of floating around the upper 220s the last few weeks. I want to get up to 235 by March 1st. We kind of, a bunch of Discord servers trying to get away from social media more. Understandable. If you left mine, I get it. Hopefully, you know, for me, I actually try to limit it to 3. My goal is to stay at only 3 Discord servers this year, so I totally understand, you know, if mine isn't one that made the cut, I get it. I'll miss you, and I'm happy to see you on Twitch every so often, but I totally understand, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel guilty. All right, let's go. So this is, 195. So just going for 3. Again, we're really starting to work the power. Now, if I'm hitting 3 for, if I hit 3 for 195 here, that means, right, my all-time shoulder press max is 200 right now. I think that's an out-of-date number at this point. If I could hit 3 for 195, I could probably hit 1 for more than 200. But, you know, I know shoulder press levels off very quickly, is what I found, you know. Your 5 rep max and your 1 rep max won't be that far off unless you've gotten really good at the explosiveness. But you know, you gotta make sure you're isolated down here, which is why I'm gonna be asking you guys to form check me. Okay, so let me hype myself up. I'll do this. felt good. It felt pretty good. What'd y'all think? Was that good? How'd the form look there? Lately, you still don't come on Twitch. You DM me if you miss me. Glad to hear it. All right. Look good. We're playing any games on stream today? Probably not. This is a lifting stream. But tomorrow morning, we will. Tomorrow morning, we'll play some games. All right, so form looked good. I appreciate that. You know, hopefully no movement from the lower body. It felt really good. Felt very powerful. I felt like I could frankly probably do more than 3 reps, which is what we're gonna do on this set. So the way this works is you do 3 sets of 3, but the third set is 3+. So, you know, we're going with, I forget what the guy's name is. Again, I need to remember that. Let me see if I can look him up real quick. See what his name is. Let's see here. Yeah, I can't find it. Well, his last name was Moore, and the one he would do in his workouts is he would do 4 sets of 6, but his final set would be 6+. So however more reps he got on those 6 reps, so if he got 7 reps or 8 reps, for every 1 rep he got above 6, he would add 5 pounds to his next workout regimen. So if he did 4 by 6, 6, 6, and then 8, he'd add 10 pounds the next time he did it. So that's, I think, a really clever way of doing it. But weight loss is still going slow and steady. I've been taking it easy, just exercising when I can. Well, good. Until you bulked up. Good compared to when I last saw you. Yeah, I don't like the way I look in the midsection. Definitely looking a little bit thicker. But that's to be expected. You got to trust the process. And my numbers are at all-time highs basically on every single lift I'm doing. So I know some of this gain is muscle. Definitely not all of it, but some of it. What I'm really hoping to do is, right, if I'm sitting around 229, 230 right now, the goal is about 235 by the end of February. So what we're doing right now is we're doing a condensed version of the peak section, the peak phase of Bromley's 70s powerlifter. So instead of doing 9 weeks, because I'm not a powerlifter, I don't want to spend 9 weeks doing 3s and 2s and 1s just to do a max test. We're gonna do 3 weeks, then a deload week, then we're gonna test our maxes March 1st, and then from there, after that, I'm gonna probably return to my cut cycle style workouts, a lot more volume, a lot more hypertrophy, a lot of 10s, a lot of 12s, and start the cut cycle. I'll do maintenance for about maybe a week or 2, but by the time mid-March comes around, I'm gonna dive into the cut, because while I love how I fit, it's the yin-yang of bulking and cutting. I've said it before and I'll say it again. On bulk cycle, you feel amazing and look like shit. On cut cycle, you feel like shit and look amazing, you know? Lesbian hot sauce. Hey, welcome in, girl. How you doing? I'm doing shoulder press right now. We're actually gonna do our 3rd and final set. So pretty good news for y'all on the power production front. We were talking about Amazon and what they do in the UK the other day. As it turns out, Amazon just bought, we're talking about moving to Bermuda? No. Potentially Hawaii, though. Wrong ocean. Either Hawaii or Washington. We're not sure yet. But, so we're talking about, I saw this morning. There's a news article that came in. There's a brand new wind farm development that just got built off the coast of Scotland. And Amazon has already signed up to buy 50% of the power it generates because Amazon wants to lower its carbon emissions. That is a huge deal, because you get a big company putting that kind of financial heft behind a renewables project. What that's going to do is stir a ton of new investment into continuing to build out renewables. So I think that's a really good sign. You know, that's going to continue to generate economic revenue for the UK. So congratulations. And again, does Amazon do anything out of its own, you know, out of goodwill or like out of ESG? Not really. Amazon's there to make a buck. But wind power, because especially as you get off of Scotland, you do get a fair amount of wind on the coast. Wind power is fairly affordable there, provided that the permitting and licensing agreements stay fairly reasonable. That's the biggest problem here in the United States. The vast majority of projects that are renewable in the United States get opposed by the government, but it's not usually the feds, it's the local governments that are what I like to call NIMBYs, not in my backyard. I know this firsthand because that's what happens in the nuclear industry, but I'll say, it's the reason I point out things like this is very simple. It's so easy to get sucked in by the negative headlines that sometimes you're like, you forget. It's like, hey, you know, this is good. It's good. It's not, you know, it's you're not seeing the world through rose-tinted glasses if you occasionally acknowledge good news. I guess that's all I'm just trying to say. You know, this is me just trying to be an optimist. All right, let's go with. All right, so this is our last set on shoulder press for this. Then we're gonna hit pin press, but we're gonna do pin press first, or no, push press. I'm okay with that actually. I'd rather do push press before pin press. Somewhat of a cross-party issue. Our old posh boys have this love of the land. Well, I mean, this is the thing, right? Especially up around Scotland, but the UK in general is a very pretty country. You know, you've got rolling hills, you've got the White Cliffs of Devon, you've got, you know, Wales is supposed to be absolutely stunning, Scotland is gorgeous. Like, this is a country where there's a lot of very beautiful land. So I get the desire to protect it, but I mean, the first step in doing that is, you know, shutting the coal mines. There's nothing. You know, it's unfortunately what's happened in the great state of West Virginia is a lot of the natural beauty got strip mined. But yeah, y'all at least on the carbon front, y'all are doing. Frankly, the UK is actually doing better than most countries. So it's something to be proud of, I guess, is all I would say. You know, hang your head high on that account. Now, if only your electricity prices weren't so high. But at least on that one, you're not the Germans, so you could be doing worse. All right. This is a third and final set. This is 195 pounds, which is around between 85 and 90 kilos, I think. Let's see. I know 100 kilos is like just a tick over 220. So yeah, it's probably like 88, 87 kilos, something like that. They sure did. Here we go. Please check my form, make sure I'm getting nothing from below the hips. And locking out. Oh, okay, that's all I'm getting. That one was a little bit harder, but that's okay. I'll still take 3. All right, for push press, I actually think I'm going to stick at 175. Most of these I'm too lazy to swap out for 5 measly pounds. So we're going to do 4 sets of 5 at 170. Let's start with 175 and see how it feels. Ooh. Presses, how much was that? Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is I'd really like to hit 225 for 5. So, you know what? Now, I don't normally like 1 rep max calculators, but, you know, we'll humor the results of one here. So just use strengthlevel.com. I think 195 pounds is something like, you know, I'll give you the exact number. Stop being lazy, times 0.454, 88.5 kilograms. So, so let's see here. So if we put in 195 pounds and we 3-rep that, 1 rep max says 206.5. I would like to think we can do a little bit better than that, but we'll find out in a couple weeks. Really, so let's see, if I put in 4 here, what does it say? So I think if I had really grounded out and tried on the first rep, I'd have gotten a 4th rep on that. That says 212. So how many times would I need to rep that for 195 for it to say 225? Looks like 5 is 219, so 6 is 226. So it's telling me, you know, if I could hit this, if I could hit 195, you know, I took 20 pounds off, but if I could hit 195 for 6 reps, it would think that I'm going to get 225 as a 1 rep max. So that's interesting. I think there's probably some truth in that, but I mean, God, I would really, really love to hit 225, and I don't know if I could hit a 5th rep. I definitely think I'd hit a 4th, you know, if I was doing that fresh. That was my 3rd set already, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so 175, we're gonna do push press now. Yeah, it's less than half of my body weight. Living up to your name there, morbidly obese, bro. It's 24 kilograms more than my entire body weight. I could easily, oh yeah, I could bench press you for, let's see, so if you're 24 kilograms body weight off, so that puts you at 64.5 kilos, which is about 150 pounds, give or take, between 145 and 150. I could bench press you for like, really until I got bored, probably 40 or 50 reps. Now yesterday we hit squat pretty good. I hit 385 for 3. And then actually 385 for 3 a second time, and then for 5, which damn near killed me, but felt really, it was gratifying to do, I'll put it that way. All right, so yeah, I don't put a ton of stock in those 1 rep max calculators. I think they're not always the most accurate, but it gives you a general idea, and it certainly suggests that 200 is not my actual max on this. That's the highest I've ever gone. But that doesn't mean it's my max. I think I'm a little bit stronger than that. Yo, we got Tomo Fit in here. Let me give you a shout out. I saw you streaming yesterday, but I had already rated someone. Let me give you a shout out. I'll give Hot Sauce a shout out too. But go check out Tomo Fit, y'all. Another really great fitness streamer on Twitch. Let me go ahead and hit another set here though. Off ads. Come on. All right, so we're doing push press here. So the difference between a push press and a shoulder press, right? Push press, you can use your knees. So this should be fairly easy. This is about explosiveness. So this should go up extremely easy. That was easy. We'll stick to that. That's no problem. This is 175. I'll take that. Yeah, I feel like you were off for a while. It's good to see you back, though. Let's also, while I'm here, damn, I gotta wait till I can give you another shout out. Don't worry, Hot Sauce, you'll get yours. Really just trying to keep my shoulders loose. Oh. Alright, let's go ahead and do the next set. I want to kind of run through the push presses a bit quicker. Challenge my endurance. Come on. Ooh, that lockout's getting dangerous. All right, I need to rest a little more than that. No, so, all right. Monkey, it's not that Miss Hot Sauce here looks up to me. I mean, she might. But it's more about game recognizing game. This is one of the things I've really loved to see over the last few, really months. And there have always been fitness streamers who are female on this platform, but what I've seen more and more is it's a trend. I suppose the TikTok name for it is muscle mommies, which is whatever. I'm not really going to touch that one with that name with a 10-foot pole unless, you know, people want me to. But what it really means is it's women. You're spacing your hands out a little more on the next set. Where my hands, so what I'm trying to do here is I want to keep my forearms perpendicular. I don't want to go wide. If my hands were, or if I was here, then yeah, I need to move them out. But if they were perpendicular, I kind of want to keep them there. But what I'm trying to say here is there have been women who have finally started taking on, I would say, one of the most toxic things that women tell themselves, which is, you know, don't lift heavy in the gym or you'll get bulky. It's just, one is stupid. And there has now been this movement of women who know better, frankly, on this platform and on others, yes, even on TikTok, but that are, they're finally addressing this myth. There's no, right, the iron game is for everybody. If you are female, you have nothing to lose by getting under the squat rack and doing serious weight. The only thing doing sets of 50 with a 5-pound dumbbell is going to get you is tendonitis. Don't bother with that stuff. Lift real heavy weight for sets of, you know, usually 6 to 12, and you're going to have better progress. And you'll look better too. You're not going to bulk up the way I bulk up. I mean, unless you're doing, frankly, unless you're taking a shit ton of steroids. That's just not how female physiology works. You will look, I mean, you will have some muscle on you. You will look athletic, but you're not going to look like you're not going to look like She-Hulk. You don't have to worry about that. Unless you want to look like She-Hulk, in which case, well, yeah, you're definitely going to need to spend some time in the gym. All genders and people deserve to feel comfortable in their skin, and I love fitness for that. Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. The iron game knows no race. The iron game knows no gender. The iron game knows no creed. Lifting is for everybody. And I genuinely, in the deepest parts of my heart, do believe that. The only thing that lifting is intolerant of is excuses. Lifting is bullshit intolerant, which I'm bullshit intolerant, so, you know. I don't know someone who are more jacked than my friend Peter is a fat piece of shit while my friend Jessica is ripped as hell. It's not, again, it's not even about being jacked. It's about functional fitness in a lot of cases. One of the worst diseases to affect women, especially in the Western world, because we have a more sedentary culture, is osteoporosis. And osteoporosis is a degenerative bone disease that primarily affects women. There have been studies that show that intense physical exercise, especially weightlifting, has been known to stave off osteoporosis and other degenerative diseases in the long run. So it's even further proof that perhaps even more so than for men, lifting is just as important for women. So, you know, having positive voices for women who want to get under a bench press for the first time or a squat rack for the first time is so crucial. And that's why I have a ton of respect for a lot of the female streamers on this platform. And, you know, I have tons of respect for the male streamers on this platform too. Frankly, the fitness and health community on Twitch is one of the most, if not the best community on here by a country mile. It's always so positive. It's all about trying to improve yourself and motivating others to improve themselves. It just makes me really happy. You're getting your 67-year-old mom to come lift. Aww, hell yeah, absolutely, abso-fucking-lutely. God, that warms my heart. Because my mom's, she's not 67, but whenever I go visit my mom, yeah, we go to the gym together. And frankly, sometimes like she likes to do boxing workouts, and she'll wail on that punching bag, and she'll get me tired out. Like, it's freaking great. Now, obviously, I'm gonna put up way more weight on, you know, a squat rack than she is, but she's not afraid of getting under there and doing squats herself. It's fantastic to watch. Yeah. I agree, fitness and health is the best. I've really enjoyed it. Tomo Fit, you're definitely, you and Miss Hot Sauce here, y'all two are wonderful pieces of that community, so be proud of yourselves. Big Red Fro, I saw that huge U.S. jobs rise in January, almost 300, I think it was like 375,000 jobs. The expectation was like 195, so basically doubled that. Absolutely fantastic. I freaking love it. So, you know, people are talking about, there's a lot of doom and gloom about the economy these days, and I don't quite understand why. Is it perfect? No, but this is the best, like, excluding the COVID years, because COVID made things a bit wonky, but like 2017 through 2019, in the last like 12 to 24 months, you know, we've seen unemployment rates that have not really been seen in the United States since the late 1960s. Even, you know, total workforce employment is rising. I believe the share of people aged 18 to 54 in the workforce is the highest it's been since 1993. I mean, we're talking about some pretty good numbers here. As much as I'd love to bash the current administration, I'm not necessarily a fan. One of the things I will give President Biden a lot of credit for is letting Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve cook without browbeating them. The Trump administration did do that. That's something I really don't like about Donald Trump, that a lot of people would skip over for other reasons. The Federal Reserve needs to be left alone to do its job. In an ideal world, the Federal Reserve works the same way the Supreme Court works. It's completely apolitical, and it's based on putting the best person for the job in that position of power. Obviously, that's not how it works in the real world, but we want to get as close to that as possible. All right, let's go ahead and do another set. We got 2 more sets of push press, and we're going to do standing pin press. So you're saying, Tomo, you're saying to bring your arms out a bit wider. For me, I don't want to go out here because that's not ideal. I think you really want to have a perpendicular forearm. Now, if I'm narrower than perpendicular, please say so. But if I'm not perpendicular, I'm probably going to stick to that. There we go. Ooh, belts. All right, that's 3 sets, 1 more and push. Excuse me for a second. No, too far, maybe. So that was too far. I felt like I was at the same place, like, so I kind of tell, what I do is I take my thumbs and put them right at the edges of the knurling on the bar. I feel like they were in the same place. So you're telling me my elbows are a bit too far out and they need to come in a bit more? Liam Reagan, what'd you do? Okay, so you're saying I overcorrected a bit? Rebound Club Masters broke. Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses. I mean, oh, you're saying I don't need to go too far out. Was I still too narrow on that set then? Or was I about where I should be? Because I really value that feedback. Again, so even though I'm facing the camera, right, I'm looking up there as my focus point. I always kind of look in the center of the stars on the flag. It's a good focus point for, you know, a center whenever I'm facing this direction and looking, you know, and doing an exercise. So I'm not looking at the camera. Okay, there's a ½ inch out. Well, so where was I on that last one? Was I too narrow, too wide, about right? Well, Liam Reagan, that doesn't sound like a huge deal. I mean, it's a pair of sunglasses. How much could it cost? Look better than the first set. Okay, cool. That's perfect. Ooh. All right. The outer parts of my shoulders, like my outer delts, are starting to feel pretty sore. That's good. That's what I want. So we're going to do this one more set, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do pin press. I haven't done a ton of experience with pin press, so this will be a lot of fun. What we're really going to do is we're going to kind of, I'll bring you guys in a little bit closer. We're going to focus on pin press. Warming up the UK already. It's been pretty nice here. Yesterday it was low 70s. I think today it's going to be a little bit cooler, low 60s, but low 60s is very normal for South Carolina at this time of year. Meta on my face. Oh, it's one of those smart sunglasses? Mr. Designer to take the league of smart glasses to connection with the Ray-Ban. Okay. I mean, how much did they cost? I will make fun of you if it was a 4-digit pair of sunglasses. Big Red Fro, you just said it. You said it better than I could. All right. Let's go ahead and get another set going here. Let's go. I'm in a really good mood this morning. Let's go Rocks Off by the Rolling Stones. Good old Exile on Main Street. Swear to God, y'all. Fucking Big Game Mikey. Big Game Mikey went and he chose violence with his song Redeem yesterday. Have to head out now. All right. Thanks for coming on by TomoFit. As always, very happy to see you. Y'all, if you have not given TomoFit a follow, please go do so. Where's here tomorrow? Show them function pictures of the countryside here. Oh, yay. Yeah, the English countryside's gorgeous. All right. There we go. Nice. Okay, so now we do standing pin press. So with standing pin press, this is actually a bit low. What we're really doing is we're isolating the lockout. So you want pin press to really start around your face level. Make sure I got that right. I think you're supposed to start around your face level. I'm still very used to it. Let's see here. No, that's the bench pin press. We don't want that. Okay, so it's at the sticking point. So for me, the sticking point, yeah, it's right around, right around face or eye length. So that's gonna be, right, so my face is, this is right at about, maybe upper lip is where the bar's at, right around my nose, upper lip. So that's about right. So we're gonna put the bar there. Nope. Perfect. Okay. Get out. There we go. Okay, so this is 175. We'll stick with this. If it's too heavy, we'll go down. What we're really doing here, okay, is with the standing pin press, we are starting at the sticking point, locking out and coming back down. The idea here is, again, is really to work that weight at the sticking point where it's the hardest. Now, this looks kind of jank, and it is, because this is an old ass fucking squat rack, but this is only 175 pounds, so it shouldn't fall over. If it does, obviously that's not ideal, but should be all right. There we go. Might use my t-shirt if I need to prevent it from rolling. Okay, so where are we going here? Let's see. What song did you request, Bull? No, worse. I'm not saying what he requested because I don't want to give you guys ideas. Spent $2.99. That's an expensive pair of sunglasses, but if you get 8-9 years out of them and they make you happy, and you have the money, you know, there are worse things to do with your money. $2.99, and you got custom lenses. That's not terrible. I usually go with the cheap sunglasses. I go the ZZ Top route. Buzzing Ranger, good to see you. How you doing? Welcome on in. Okay, so yeah, we got pin press. The goal here, again, real strict, no body movement down under, right? So you guys saw my knees were bending on those lats. That's a push press, right? The whole point of the push press is to work on that explosiveness. JJ Gonzalez, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So, right, those last sets, those were push press. The idea is really working on that explosive bounce and go. Then the sets before we were doing that were, you know, strict shoulder press, so nothing below the waist. These are going to go back to nothing below the waist. The whole point here it's kind of, this is basically the shoulder equivalent to a floor press, right? A floor press, you only come down to the floor, so you're working on locking out, really working those triceps. Likewise, in the same way here, right, if we're starting up here as opposed to down here, you're really just focusing on the lockout. All right, let's do this. I shouldn't have any issues with this, but we'll see how it goes. But I will need to move it forward. So I'm coming out, yeah. That should do. Okay, come on, reset. You got it. Okay, I'm gonna have to go down weight. Well, you got one more in here. Oh, no. All right, yeah, we're going down weight. That's hard. Fuck. That's really hard. Holy shit. Okay, what we found is a weak point in my game here. This is great. This is good. Failure is the best teacher you can ask for, and what we have done here is failed. So we're gonna go 165, and we're gonna work on this. We're gonna really just absolutely slaughter my shoulders here. So let's see, this is 125, 55, 65. One final set of 12 kilogram dumbbells each arm. Fuck my life, this is hard. Hell yeah. They're both selling for retail chain. So, okay. So the good news is, right, I'm supposed to be doing this at 75% of max, which if you do the math and you're assuming a max of 225 is 168. And so that last set was at 175. So we had a little bit of room to go down. This is 165, we'll see how we do. But let's just assume this is 75% of our max. If that's the case, our real max would be 220. That's still pretty good. It's not where we want it to be, but it's pretty good, especially considering this is now my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was my 8th set. This will be my 9th set on shoulder press. That's a lot of volume, which is good. That's what we want, but my elbows, my shoulders are going to be shot after this workout. Let's go with some Judas Priest. How about we do a little Judas Priest? Wish the U.S. would nuke Iran to be on. Whoa, hating 21 coming in with a hot, literally a thermonuclear hot take there. Iran is a disgusting, repressive regime that terrorizes its own people, terrorizes other nations, stones gay people, and oppresses women. But a nuclear bomb is not the answer there. Jesus Christ. No. Look, Iran's regime is disgusting and oppressive, but the Iranian people don't deserve that. A nuclear bomb is not to be... Maybe I feel very sensitive to this considering the industry I work in, but a nuclear bomb is not something to just casually threaten. That's what North Korea does. We're better than North Korea. compared to where Bull lives, my hometown is equivalent to Newberry. Yeah, Newberry's a little bit bigger. The response is to support democracy actors in Iran, not a nuke. Yeah, I think a big part of this too is if you're Iran, the trouble is there's a new, I hate to use the term because the worst president of the 21st century is kind of, it was the one who coined it. The new axis of evil is what I would call Russia, Iran, and North Korea. And what's funny too is that what Iran is doing now is they're already reaping the rewards. They're already winning the very stupid prizes of the stupid games they play. So Iran is a state sponsor of terrorism between Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, and plenty of other Shia-based terrorist organizations. What they've ended up doing is pissing off the Sunni-based terrorist organizations they don't support, ISIS being one of them, Al-Qaeda being another, and I believe the Taliban as well, really don't like Iran. So I think it was Soleimani, the general that got killed in Iran a couple years back. They had a funeral, a state funeral for him, and ISIS blew up their, like they committed a terrorist attack. ISIS committed a terrorist attack in Iran at that funeral, which is, again, that is the definition of play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If you are funding terrorist groups, you are going to get backfire. And look, as an American, I know this better than anyone else because we did it by funding the Mujahideen against the Soviets in the 1980s. Guess who the Taliban ended up becoming, right? Like the Mujahideen were the freedom fighters at the end of the film Rocky III in the 1980s. But as soon as the commies left, then they started turning to radical Islam. Again, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Don't fund terrorist organizations. It's not worth it. Yeah. As far as Iran is concerned, in my opinion, the response is to cut oil usage as fast as possible because that's going to cripple Iran's economy and force them, to depend more on international trade as opposed to being a petrostate. It also crushes the Russians under our boots as well. I'm a huge, huge fan of the United States curtailing oil consumption as fast as possible because we produce more oil than even the Saudis do. If the United States could cut oil consumption by just 10 to 20%, we would instantly crater the price of oil and take the Putin regime, the regime in Tehran, and the regime in Riyadh and put them right under a great red, white, and blue boot. And I would love to see it, frankly. So, really, the answer is if you hate Iran, if you hate Russia, if you hate Saudi Arabia, if you hate these repressive, detestable, anti-woman, anti-LGBT regimes in the Middle East, consume less oil. Sell that big, stupid truck. Hopefully big allies like UAE, Israel, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia get some capitalism up in the Middle East. So, well, this is one where this raised taxes on oil-based consumption. Please, I would love higher taxes on gasoline. That would be fantastic. Well, okay, so this is one that drove me nuts. We actually tried to broker a peace deal, the Biden administration did, to get Saudi Arabia, I think Qatar, Oman, and a few other Gulf states to formally recognize Israel in exchange for a two-state solution where we actually get a country named Palestine that was run by the Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, and was going to get rebuilt and bankrolled, so economically bankrolled by the Saudis, which is a fantastic deal because a country that has interactive, global trade ties, right? If you could get trade between Palestine and the rest of the Arab world, get trade between Israel and the rest of the Arab world going, it suddenly becomes too costly to commit acts of terror because it's bad for business. So it happens less. Unfortunately, the Israelis, in particular the far-right Israelis, fucking Bibi, scuttled this deal, which is stupid. And frankly, the United States should tell Israel, okay, you don't want that kind of deal? You don't want to stop these terrorist attacks? Because that's the only way to do it. If Israel continues to do what they're going to do, all that's going to do is create blowback. That's going to create more terrorists. If you don't give people in the West Bank and people in Gaza better economic opportunities, and you're constantly just settling parts of the land, and you're embargoing them, you're putting restrictions on trade, you're doing all these sanctions, all that's going to do is generate more terrorists because that's the only job that pays. So you don't want to do that. No, it really bothers me that the Israelis said no to that one. I think that was a really good deal, and I think the United States should say, I think now that Israel said no, the United States should go to Saudi Arabia and say, hey, we tried, and we should walk away, let the Israelis handle it themselves, and when the Israelis reach the point of common sense, they can come back and we can take that deal. And again, I am no pro-Palestine. I want to see every fucking Hamas terrorist stuffed in a pig and killed. Because look, if you stone gay people, if you treat women worse than you treat farm animals, I have no use for you, and I have no use for your ideology. But look, you can't keep Gaza. The status quo cannot continue. It's just not going to work. All you're going to do is create more terrorists. I wouldn't call it a genocide. That's different. I would not call that a genocide. It's a war, and there are war crimes, but it's not a genocide. So disagree with that. So that's just my opinion, but what are you guys, how shocked are you guys that the centrist has a centrist opinion on this issue? It shouldn't be that surprising. Frankly, we in the United States don't need Israel, and we in the United States, frankly, we don't need the Arabs as well. We rely mostly on United States and Canadian oil, so if we say, fuck you guys, we're out, it doesn't hurt us that bad. Now, the Houthis in Yemen, that's a much bigger deal, because that affects international trade, and international trade must be protected. The United States Navy is going to continue to do that. But funny enough, the other countries that are backing that are, thankfully, the UK, the French, the Germans, and Bahrain. I think even a couple of the other Arab countries recognize these Houthi rebels are directly damaging business and the economy. We can't have that. So I care a whole lot more about what's going on in Yemen than I do about what's going on in Gaza, because Gaza is much less economically relevant. Money talks. All right, let's go for another set here. This is 165. Shouldn't have any issues with this. Oh, that was tough. That last one was hard. Or we're gonna stick to 165. That was hard. Two more. Secularists in Israel pay higher taxes to fund their lifestyle. I know. This is the trouble. Speaking of U.S. Navy, Biden launched airstrikes in Iraq and Yemen. We should be absolutely fucking deleting Yemen. The Houthis are directly damaging international trade, and that is a U.S. interest, so we need to play hardball there. If the Yemenis, if the Houthis want to fuck around, they will find out. I would not call it genocide, but is Israel probably committing war crimes in Gaza? Yeah, probably. But were the attacks on October 7th, frankly, really stupid on Hamas's part? Yeah. Again, fuck around and find out. And frankly, I can't blame the Israelis for their approach, because here's the thing, right? Here, us Americans, our approach was to try and go in, build the culture, rebuild the country, and guess what that got us in Afghanistan? Got us absolutely jack fucking bupkis. So I don't blame the Israelis for saying, fuck your approach with a scalpel, we're going to do ours with a sledgehammer. I don't think it's the right approach, but I do understand it. Okay, lesbian hot sauce. This is true. You have a little expertise in this one. Oh, damn, I wanted to ask you a question then. I was going to say, what do you think about Armenia in 1915? Does that meet the definition? Because I think, speaking of that, genocide is such a charged word. Hamas was funded by Bibi's government. Really? I know I get you're very passionate, but that's the thing. I get that you're very passionate about it. That's partially why I like hearing you talk about it, because you have some knowledge on this issue, knowledge that I don't have, and I like learning from you. The Fisher says, "Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Get motivated. I'm gonna do it on the set too." That's the right way to do it. See, this is one where I don't know, so I'm learning here. One more. One more. Man. Oh, that's killing. That's killing. That's good. National empathy cup is empty. Mine's been empty for years, but I'm an engineer. I don't really ever think I had one. Speculating whether the one's a democratic diplomatic. Oh, absolutely. But, right. You can't, the status quo is just going to generate more terrorism. It's, right, this is blowback, right? And this is a good one where you want to learn from history. First off, the Arabs need to learn from history, right? Israel's not going away. This from the glass, or from the sea to the lake or whatever, or from the river to the sea. That whole thing is stupid. That's a delusional ideology. You need to get rid of that and be practical. And the Israelis showed they're not going away in 1948, in 1967, in 1973, and on and on and on. Israel's going to stay. That's a thing that is a political and economic reality at this point. However, the West Bank and Gaza need representation as an independent entity at this stage. A one-state solution, I don't think that's going to work. You need to give these people representation. It can't be from Hamas, because that's going to just create more terrorism, but you got to do something. The status quo is just going to generate more terrorism. And when I'm talking about blowback here, so in 1953, mostly for petroleum interests of the British, actually, we overthrew an independently elected Mohammad Mossadegh in Iran in 1953 and instilled the Shah. And that caused blowback 25 years later when the Shah got deposed and the current group of assholes took over Iran. The point is, you're better off you need solutions. And if you're the United States, you want to end this Israel-Gaza thing as quickly as possible, because what's much more important right now are Yemen, Ukraine, and Taiwan. Those are far more economically important to the United States, and especially Europe, than Israel and Gaza is. 1967 is when the Egyptians invaded, fucked around, and got their asses kicked, and Israel took over the Sinai for 6 years. Now, again, you have to move forward. You have to find a solution. It's never going to be perfect. Nobody's going to like it. A good compromise is when everybody walks away pissed off. Trust the centrist on this one. Solution should include unrestricted highway from West Bank to Gaza, travel freely within the same state. I agree with that. You know, in the long run, hopefully you would want, you know, free trade, maybe even a Schengen zone kind of agreement, but that's a long way from happening. Any fun plans for the weekend? You're looking at them. We're lifting. Lifting is fun, FM. Well, and Egypt should be one of the biggest brokers in this agreement. We need to get the Egyptians involved here, because you want to talk about a country directly affected by this Houthi bullshit. It's going to be Egypt, right? Think about all the amount of global shipping routes going through the Red Sea, right? Well, what do they have to pass to get to the Mediterranean? The Suez Canal. How much of Egypt's economy is based around Suez Canal revenue? A giant chunk. So the Egyptians have a huge incentive to stop this madness as quickly as they can. So this is one where, right, we need to look at, okay, in the 70s, what we had with the Israel and Egyptian agreements, the Camp David Accords under Carter, we need to look at that as maybe a template to try and advance the conversation. I'm not interested in theory, I'm not interested in ideology, I'm interested in pragmatism. But yeah, let me go, let's go ahead and do, you know what? Yes, okay, so I did have 2.5. Let's go ahead and do 170 here for our final rep, and then we're going to move on to the bodybuilding stuff. This is great conversation, by the way. They're very passionate. This is a very heated subject. There are going to be very passionate feelings about this. But I really like that people are able to have disagreeing opinions and still talk. That's something I really pride myself in my channel. I like having a very light, moderative hand. I don't like censoring people. This is not a place for that. This is a place where people should be able to speak freely and say, I disagree with you because of X and Y, but I respect your opinion nonetheless, and I respect your right to have that opinion. All right. Let's go. Here we go. Last set on pin press. What's going on here? Damn it. Come on. Ooh, there we go, the Judas Priest. Oh, what the fuck? My headphones disconnect? Fucking hell. That's always annoying. Sorry, y'all. Were people during industry is a sign of society? Someone said that sometime. I agree. What do you think will be the outcome? What do you say about stability and peace? Is things beyond that now, sadly? I disagree with that. Someone may have said, you know, that the River Rhine in 1944 was beyond peace. I don't think that's true. I think this is still salvageable. Maybe that's my, that's perhaps my eternal optimism showing through. What the fuck? Why are you off? Ah, the hell with it. I'm just gonna do a set without music. Hard mode. One. Come on, one more. 5. Nice. Okay. Woo. We lightheaded now. We slightly dizzy. All right. BRB one more time. All right. Massively fucked. Oh, yeah. I mean, So, right, Gaza is going without electricity, without water, without a lot of basics. Are they starving? Probably not, at least not in the same way that Yemen is, but Gaza is certainly no good place to live right now, and it's due to the war. Now, again, a large part of this is Hamas. Hamas refuses to come out and fight. Hamas hides behind women and children. And again, I have no use for Hamas. I have no use for a regime or an organization that treats women and gay people, treats women like animals, and it treats gay people like criminals. That I have no use for a regime like that. But at the same time, you have to provide the people in West Bank and the people in Gaza with a better solution than the status quo. You can't. Something has to change. I think the best way to do that, frankly, is for the United States to say, hey, we tried to broker this deal, Israel. If you don't like it, you're on your fucking own. That's my opinion. Frankly, again, the United States doesn't need to be there. There is very little strategic advantage to helping Israel further. It's that simple. There's very little to be gained if you're American for that. I talk about the United States interest because that's what I care about. I'm a proud American first. Care about America's interest far before any other countries. All right, so we're gonna move to the next exercises here. So we're gonna do upright rows, I think, next. Then we're gonna do, we got French press, floor press, and jam press. Fuck, that's gonna be hard. That's also gonna be fun. No, let's do floor press next. That, I think, is the move. Yeah, we're gonna do floor press. Now, hot sauce, I know you've done a lot in that region, and I get why you might be jaded. It's very understandable, but I would tell you to not give up hope. Things can change for the better. Sometimes it takes time, and sometimes it takes a whole lot of effort. But when you give up hope, that's when despair sets in, and despair can lead to rage. Rage can lead to lashing out, and lashing out can make problems even worse. Don't give up hope. Be optimistic. So that's my opinion on it all. Hang on, your net is derping. Sets done, swole girl. Let's go. Let's go. Absolutely. Yeah, and use that. Use the frustration. Use the anger, but do it productively. You know, go get them fucking sets done. It's absolutely the move. Okay. So we're gonna do floor press. So what is floor press? So floor press is an exercise where you're really working the tricep section of a bench. So it's working the lockout muscles. Again. For floor press, you know, because there's really no way to get crushed under it, because you can't, right, because of the diameter of the plates, you're not going to get crushed underneath it, so you can put clips on, no problem with that. Heard you Westerners hate when you bring up the human shields. Oh yeah, no, look. It is possible to say there is no good side in this conflict, and that's where I'm at. Does Israel have better human rights standards? Yes. But are Israel's actions ensuring there is going to be continued violence in the West Bank and Gaza? Also, yes. Anyway, let's move on. We've talked about this enough. So, hot sauce, what else were you working today? Were you just doing arms, like biceps, triceps, anything else? Damn it, what is going on with these fucking headphones this morning? Fucking connect. What are you doing? Ugh. Let's see if we can get them to connect now. There we go. Perfect, we got it fixed. Little Judas Priest sounds pretty good. All right, so Floor presses are going to see pretty simple. All we're really doing is working the triceps here. Oh. And I immediately have realized I put this at the wrong height setting. That's too high. So you gotta lower it down slightly. Yeah, reset it. My bad, y'all. Oops. All right, yeah, we're learning. I'm still trying to figure out where to put everything. Take two. My bad, y'all. Let's try that a second time. All right. Yeah, that's much better. So what are we doing here? All we're trying to do is come down and then up. Really working on that lockout. One, two, three. Lock out. Come on. Get up there. Woo! All right, that's good. We got 3 more sets of those. That was 235. I like that. That feels pretty good. See what you guys got going on. King of the Jews. Okay. He called himself that. Lord. Left-wing leadership ensure no more Israeli settlement expansion. No more make it harder to achieve a two-state solution. The settlements will have to go. Again, Israel only can do that because the United States backs them. If we say, hey, cut the shit, they'll have to cut the shit. They don't really get a choice. Remember, Israel needs to remember its place. Without us, they can't be quite as aggressive. It's that simple. Israel answers to us. We don't answer to them. The United States answers to fucking nobody. And the United States needs to act in the interest of the United States and no other country. Did Trump really declare himself king of the Jews? This is what I'm talking about. Okay, I said a few years ago, I actually got a lot of flack for this. I said Kanye was the Black Donald Trump. And people gave me so much shit for that. I'm like, bro literally made an album called Yeezus. And now you got Trump calling himself king of the Jews. It's a reference to Jesus Christ. Come on. They're both narcissistic idiots. All right. Well, I got the last bit of... You got another thing coming by priests coming up. Come on, let's hit this. I have a left-wing government, left-wing leaders in Israel want to end the settlements. Exactly. You just got to kick out Bibi and the jackasses that elect him. Bibi is getting Israel nowhere. Wish most Israelis understood that. Bibi is only making the problems worse for Israel. All right, here we go. Come on. I fucking cannot stand it when you get uppity, entitled politicians. Ukraine does this slightly, but I get why. Ukraine's fighting for their existence. Israel's fighting to expand themselves. But Ukraine and Israel, to a lesser extent even Taiwan, that remember, they forget, they fail to remember who is the only reason they exist as a country. Stop acting uppity and spoiled and entitled. I hate that. Nothing drives me battier as an American when everybody likes to blame America and make us the bad guy, but then when someone pulls some stupid shit, oh, red, white, and blue, come save us. Doesn't work like that. All right, you gotta remember, okay? If you want a global hegemon, it's either us, the Russians, or the Chinese. The European Union is not integrated enough and not politically willing to do that national security job. The only people who take their defense contributions in the EU seriously are Poland. The British also do, but the British are no longer in the EU, so. Boxing is great, absolutely. I absolutely love boxing. That's a really great exercise. Really, any martial art is good for you. I would love to try judo, not because judo is particularly useful as a combat mechanism, but because I love the judokan culture. I actually lived in Japan when I was little because my dad was in the military. And as a result, I learned a lot about judo then, and I've always kind of had a fascination with it. I get that it's not the most useful form of martial art. That's not what matters. Frankly, my size will be enough to deter most other criminals, right? Criminals are lazy. Criminals don't want to pick a hard target. So, this is why bike locks work. Can you cut through a bike lock? Yeah, but will most criminals go to that level of effort to steal a bike? No. How come you lived in Japan but you don't date Asians? Smartass. Well, okay, if you want the actual reason, it's because where I live, the Asian population is less than 1%. So there are none. Path of least resistance. Exactly. Tuning out is the privilege of the safe and free. Yeah. There's some truth to that statement. Of course, you can tune out of the bread and circuses too, and do all the better. I, for one, am probably not going to watch the Super Bowl because I think the NFL is scripted, and it's not a good product even if it isn't scripted. Ugh. All right, we got 2 more sets of this. Let's go a little Deep Purple. I'm feeling a little smoke on the water. So we got 2 more sets at... Actually, no. We've been talking about wars and all sorts of stuff like that. I got a way better Deep Purple song. It's called Child in Time. It's about nuclear war. They wrote it in 1970, and people forget how dangerous a place the world was in the 60s. The late 60s and early 70s, there was a real moment, really, between the Sino-Soviet split in the mid to late 60s and U.S.-Chinese rapprochement in 1972, ping-pong diplomacy, where there was a real threat of a nuclear war breaking out that the United States was not involved in between the USSR and the Chinese. What are your thoughts on Prince, the artist formerly known as? No, I'm kidding. Prince has never been my favorite, but he's really talented, and there's some songs I love of his. Let's Go Crazy is probably my favorite. Yeah, I get that's the normie hit, but I mean, it's hell yeah. I'm going to play that song next. I like Prince. I like to pretend boomers and Gen X didn't face scary times. Yeah, so Child in Time, though, is... oh, God, Ian Gillan absolutely shreds his vocals on that track. Deep Purple and Rock is a very underrated album. I'll put it that way. People like to say Deep Purple wasn't ever as heavy as Led Zeppelin or as Black Sabbath. The third part of the original trinity of British heavy metal. But go listen to Child in Time and tell me Deep Purple didn't have something really special going on then. Only started to appreciate Prince later in life. Prince is good. Nah. To me, Prince sort of had the same vibe. I know this is sort of, it's not stereotyping, but I don't know if this is accurate. Part of me feels a little bit like he was the Little Richard of the 80s and 90s. If you get, does that analogy kind of make sense? Because I like Little Richard, but like Little Richard's not my favorite artist of all time. All right. Third set, here we go. 1, 2. 1, 2. All right, I think we got one more set on this. Let me go for 250. I want to see how it feels. I think we should be able to get that for 9. We'll see. Yeah. Now you're talking about the late 60s and early 70s. You're really talking about like Vietnam is a good example. Vietnam was a bad war. The United States should have never gotten involved in. And hell, we picked the wrong side on that one. If we had supported Ho Chi Minh against the French, he would have probably been an anti-communist leader. Ho Chi Minh was never originally a hardcore, communist. He just wanted independence from the French. If we had picked Vietnam in that battle, history may have turned out very differently there. But yeah, speaking of this song, "Child in Time," I will say, if I had been drafted in the '60s, I still would have gone, even though I wouldn't necessarily support the war. If Uncle Sam tells me to, stand up and fight for the country, I'm going to do it. So blessed to have been born in this country that I would 100% do that. No questions asked. Actually funded the Khmer Rouge. Well, that one kind of has some parallels to the way the Taliban now control Afghanistan. A lot of funding of the Khmer Rouge, in the same way that was funded, Taliban, was done by states bordering it, the same way that Pakistan more or less allowed the hardcore terrorists in Afghanistan to camp out in Pakistan for half the year and then come back and fight. Yeah, some American policy worked, some didn't. Either way, this is the thing though, I think people don't understand. Only 5% of the world is American. So to have been born here is winning the birthplace lottery, as far as I'm concerned, because this is the best country on earth. And that's also part of the reason I strongly support bringing back the draft. A lot of people don't like that opinion on mine, but I support bringing back the draft, and I support making women draft eligible too. If you want equal rights, that's got to happen. The reason I'm a huge fan of the draft is very simple. When there's a threat of a draft, and first off, I am against any things like going to college as an excuse for getting out of the draft. That's bullshit. Nope. College is not a reason. If you're in college, you should still be draft eligible. I don't care. The whole point of the draft is to make damn sure that every American family has a stake in whether or not we go to war. So we choose our wars a lot more carefully. So that's a very unpopular opinion I have. My father served in the United States Air Force. He chose to do that. He was not drafted, but he served for almost 30 years, and that was his opinion. So I tend to think that he knew a lot more about those matters than I ever will. So I tend to agree with that. All right, let's go. Last set. One, two. Let's go. Get up there! Fuck. That was hard. Alright. Fourth set done. That's 250. Let's go ahead and do upright rows next. For what it's worth, if the United States military ever decides to call on my name for selective service, I will not shirk that duty. I will go and I will fight, regardless of the cause. As a patriotic American, I do believe that is my duty that I owe to this country for giving me such a great life. In reality, I would guess that they'd probably stick me on a nuclear submarine, given that I'm a nuclear engineer. I don't suppose myself to be smarter than the US military, but I'm just kind of guessing that based on, common sense. Generally speaking, someone with a 4-year degree is probably not going to just go be a fucking grunt. All right, let's do upright rows. Start with 135, see how it feels just from there. Yeah, I know a lot of Americans would strongly disagree with my opinion, and that's their right. I know that's not a popular one. That's how I feel. Then bring us up to the squat level. We'll come bring you guys in a bit. I question people's love for America if they can't recognize his mistakes. I think there's truth to that. I think there's also a group of people that like to say America bad no matter what we do, and those people are goddamn insufferable. Very anti-Russian, fuck their government. There are a few Nazis in Ukraine, absolutely. I worry about arming them. Well, in an idealistic world, they're the ones who die in battle. Stop being rational. Exactly. This is talk between rational people. But, yeah. I'm also a really big fan of that Theodore Roosevelt line about, keep yourself in good physical shape. Partially because, God forbid, if you should ever need to defend your country from an enemy of the U.S. Constitution, you as an American should be ready to do so. That's our obesity rate is a national security problem at this point. The U.S. Army has admitted as much. So no, I'm actually quite a big fan of bringing back the draft. Again, I know a very, very unpopular opinion, but that's what I believe. That felt pretty good. I'm going to stick to that. Of course, it may well be that I'm going to work as a civilian employee to the military by the end of this year, so maybe that's partially why I feel this way. I'm only 1 or 2 steps away from signing up directly anyhow. Oh God, please don't tell me you ever listen to that Hassan fella. That guy needs to be shot. All right, no, sorry, that's too far. He doesn't need to be shot. But guys like that, the anti-Americans who live in this country, I cannot stand them. There are 193 other countries. And if you want to sit here and dick ride everything America does is bad, you want to have that as your opinion, fuck off. Just leave. There are plenty of other countries where you can hate America in peace. And this is how I know he's a huckster, he's a grifter. He ain't gonna do that. If you really think America's that evil, go live in Venezuela and starve and deal with hyperinflation, or go live in Iran, or go live in Russia, or go live somewhere else, but fuck off. Get out of the United States. I'm not saying, you gotta be Mr. Jingoistic, Mr. Patriot, but if you think everything America does is evil, just get out of here. Fuck right off. Just get so tired of that. It's honestly, what it is it's mostly jealousy, right? Because America, we're at the top, baby. You might not like it, but we're right here. We're Alabama. That's who we are. We are to international politics what Alabama is to college football. People hate us because we're the best. Just get so tired of the knee-jerk America hate. Gets so fucking tiresome. So I cut my teeth literally digging up bomb studios, go 50K a year, working my ass off the duck and dirt. He's a grifter because he lives in exactly, he's a champagne socialist. Isn't it funny how many of those there are? I mean, he's the perfect example I love to give when left-wingers tell me, oh, the right is just full of grifters and the left doesn't have the same problem. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Hassan is he's the poster child for left-wing grift. Yeah, the US draft does still exist. And it's called selective service. And I am registered for it. But I want to bring it back. Like we had it in the 60s. Now, if you don't want to get drafted, vote for anti-war politicians. Real fucking simple. No, it's real easy. The draft will prevent us from going to stupid wars. And if we do go to stupid wars, it means we'll actually protest it. We protested a bad war in the 60s a lot harder than we ever protested a bad war in the 2000s. You want to know why? It's because the Iraq War did not affect most Americans' lives on a day-to-day basis like Vietnam did. That's the difference. And it bothers me in particular because as a military kid, I've seen the results of what an all-volunteer military can do to certain families. Because it becomes a family profession. When it becomes a family profession, those families suffer and die. And those families don't get the respect they deserve because the average American can tune them out. That's my problem. That's why I support the draft. It puts some skin in the game for the rest of the Americans. RDs is minted by banks and corpos. Here's what they're doing, they feed into hate. Yeah, it's because hate sells, right? Notice I'm sitting here preaching optimism. I'm preaching optimism and things can get better and, it's not the end of the world. And the difference is, right? My audience is 19 people. And what am I doing? I'm running the minimum ads that I can. It's a very big difference between me and the other folks. Because he's hot. Yeah. That sounds an awful lot like a left-wing Andrew Tate to me. Is this I think we've done 2 sets on this, so I got 2 more. Andrew Tate is fucking scumbag, by the way. Let's go.
it's what kind of message, what kind of person do you want to be? What kind of message do you want to send out to the world? I like to send out the positivity. Would you top Hasanabi? If by top you mean beat him to a pulp, probably. Personal accountability, bingo. I agree with that. Exploitation is a real deal issue, but a lot of Americans seem to these days want to embrace a victim mentality where it's never their fault. It's never I could improve. It's always someone else is oppressing me. And you're damn right, they're not mutually exclusive. Now, the problem, right, the difference here, okay, I cannot control exploitation. This is where my philosophy is coming in here. We're talking about stoicism. I can't control being exploited apart from voting every few years, right? What I can control is personal accountability. So that's why I spend a lot more time preaching about that. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, right, there are problems in our current system relating to capitalist and corporate exploitation. That does exist. The problem is I can't control it. So I focus on what I can control. Warren Griffin. Yeah. I don't think protesting is worth the time, frankly. What would be far more valuable is being very judicious with the money you spend, and therefore saving a lot. Once you've saved a lot, start voting with your wallet. Invest in companies you care about. Invest in causes you care about. Lesbian Hot Sauce does this, actually. That's one of the reasons I have a lot of respect for her, right? When it comes to investing, she's a lot more conscientious about, what is my money going to? What am I supporting? It's the same thing with charities. Donate to charities you care about. Donate to causes you care about. Standing in the streets and protesting is valuable to a point, but rioting solves nothing. All rioting does is tear down and destroy local businesses. Just ask people in Minneapolis how they feel about the 2020 protests. All right. Speaking of all this, let's play Working Man by Rush. Great song. Politicians need to be slightly... I agree with that. Politicians ought to be slightly afraid of their constituents. But there should be a good reason to protest. But we don't need to be... There's a very, very slim line between a protest and a riot. What you don't want to do is start destroying businesses. That's the wrong way to go about it. You might hate the business, but if you destroy the business, all of a sudden, that's just not going to fly in this country. Even if you want to say there's a good reason to do it, what it's going to do is get crackdowns even worse. Actions have consequences. All right, here we go. Fourth set. That's why they call me. They call me the working man. All right, so we'll do JMs next. Let's see, where are we at? 4, 16, 19. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, we'll do 4x9 on JMs and 4x9 on French presses. Nice. All right. Nice. I'm going to try 125 with JMs. We'll see how it goes. I typically don't do JMs this heavy. But I'm kind of curious to see how it goes. Let's see the last time I did JMs. I have to search this real quick. Give me a sec. Actually, I'm going to take a leak while I do that. Drinking a lot of water today. If I can do skull crushers at 115, I should be able to jam 125 with no real issues. So we're gonna go with 125, see how it feels. Hey, John the Asian, good to see you. Oh shit, we got a raid. Hey, let's go, let's give you a shout out. Here's some of my left friends. Lesbian, I think there's something I got for you that might help you with that. Shout out. Give you a shout out, John the Asian. Thank you very much. How are you doing? What were you doing today? I'll give you a follow. Oh, yeah. Lesbian hot sauce. There's a term called the swoletariat that I've heard, which is leftists getting out of their mom's basement and going to the gym and getting strong. Right? How are you going to fight fascism if you can't even throw a punch? If you're gonna be this fucking lefty, right? Worked out shoulders and abs, what'd you do? Hey, we're doing shoulders tries today. We've done most of our shoulder workouts, we're doing tries right now. Exactly. But what language do fascists speak? They speak the language of power and violence. So you gotta be ready to fight with a little bit of that too. This sort of works. Queer Avengers, there you go. All right, here we go, let's do a little JM. So the JM press, for those who don't know, is a mix. It's sort of a hybrid between a close grip bench and a skull crusher, right? So it's like that. All right, 1, 2. Pretty good. I hate JMs, those suck, but I need to do them. All right, we got 3 more sets of that, and then we're gonna do tricep French press. Yeah. Now, I don't care what your ideology is. Again, that's the best part about the Iron Game. It knows no creed. Hey, what's up, Bert? Good to see you. Work at 9. Yeah, working all the time. Seems to me my life much better than I think I am. That's why they call me the working man. Smith machine is actually really good for a JM press, but I don't have that option here. Man, I guess that's what I am. All right, so we got 7 more sets to go. Fuck, my triceps are gonna be dead at the end of this. Fucking hell. I'm the new guy at DC Gay Bar. Now I can't find him anymore. Aw. Well, I hope you do. Hey, John, good to see you. JM press or bust. Well, I'm only doing 125. I'm sure you're JM pressing some stupidly high number. Should have originally asked for his number. Hell yeah, bro. Well, you just have to return to that bar and hope he shows up there. It's the old-fashioned way. Maybe you get lucky. Did you meet him last night? What's the advantage of floor press versus flat bench? Okay. Actually, I do want to talk about that before I go any further. That's a great question, God's Blanky. So, well, I got 3 sets of JM press and then 4 sets of French press. Let's talk about this. God's Blanky. So when you do a floor press, I was doing floor press a little while ago. Floor press is basically you're doing partials. You're only going down to about halfway, right? With a whole bench press, you're bringing it down to your chest, right? So you're really using your chest muscles for the first half, and then your triceps to lock out. So for me, on bench press, right, my max all time is about 355. For me, I can probably get 375, 380 about here. Locking out's where I fail. So for me, a floor press is really nice in that I'm working that lockout section. And it's the same way how, you know how I was doing pin presses with shoulder press earlier, kind of starting with the bar right here at my face. It's working that lockout. So if you find that you're able to do the first half of a shoulder press or a bench press really well, but the second half is where you're struggling, finally locking out, things like floor presses and pin presses can be really, really useful. I have a lot of belly fat. Oh, that's, yes, I am in a bulk. Kind of painful. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm trusting the bulk right now. You know, if I flex, right, you can see a little bit of abdominals, but not nearly as much as a couple months ago. But yes, I am bulking. At 229 right now. Target bulk is 235, and we're going to cut back down to about 215. Let's go. I feel like Austin Bulge is big. A little bit. There's definitely some chub in my midsection. I'm not gonna lie to myself and say it ain't there, but you know, it's the bulk. You gotta trust the bulk. Expect you're gonna shave it off. What I do know is my numbers have been going up and up and up. So that means some of this bulk weight has to be muscle. So it's kind of a, you know, it's a double-edged sword, right? With a cut, you look amazing and feel like shit. With a bulk, you feel amazing and look like shit. It's the yin yang. And by the way, for those of you who are always wondering, is like, you know, do I got an opinion on everything? Do I know the answers to everything? Absolutely not. I'm just another human being trying to do the best I can. And for that, I'm gonna play my next song. It's a song by the Moody Blues called I'm Just a Singer in a Rock and Roll Band. There was a flex request 2 hours ago. No, I totally missed that. I saw a pose request. Was that the one from Monkey? Because I did a ZYZZ pose. Or Ziz. I don't know how that goes. Mikey. But, you know, play a little Moody Blues. I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. Because that's all I really am. I'm just a streamer on a laptop. Yeah, I did that one. You can knock it out. All right, 2 more sets on JM. One more. I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. Only destroy themselves. Here's the question. Do I want to do... I think I might try dumbbell French press today. So I'm here. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to do that. A little heavier weight. I'm going to try it with dumbbells for a change. Who doesn't text message or call, just shooting a snap at people sometimes. What's up? Traveling on message there. It really depends. If you're in international travel, things like Snapchat and WhatsApp are way more effective. I keep my Snapchat to people I know in real life. I know a lot of people ask me for it, but nope. Because I already get enough unsolicited dick pics and other, it's not just dicks. I do already get a fair amount of unsolicited pictures from people, and it's fine, but I don't need a second app to get that. And with Snapchat, you know, being insta-delete messages, that's gonna be a bit much. I don't constantly need that popping up on my phone. I get enough of that on Discord, frankly. Not trying to be mean, but you know. All right, here we go. Last set on JMs. Six. God, my triceps. Alright. Unsolicited dick pics are weird to me. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small. Alright, we're done with the barbell. Let's do some French press. I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. We're just a singer in a rock and roll band. I don't use Twitter, so it sounds like not something I could weigh on. Here we go. The fuck? Oh. I'm like, why does this feel weird? And I realized it's because I had, one was a 30-pound dumbbell and one was a 40-pound dumbbell. I'm like, what's going on here? Something's wrong. Like, one of these feels like I have to compensate. I'm just gonna do single arm. I think that's gonna be better form. Let's try that again. I need to go down weight. My elbow's bowing too far out. Finish the rep at this set. What you do to one arm, you must do to another, but we gotta go down weight. Yeah, extreme chance I am bulking. I've been bulking since November. Right now weighing in, I weighed in this morning at, excuse me, 229 and a half. Target weight's 235. I started my bulk at 205 in November. So yes, I am bulking. I know I look a little bit chubbier, but the muscles are getting bigger too. So we're gonna take 5 pounds each out of the dumbbell. We'll do it with 25s. 30s are a bit too heavy. Again, it's a French press. The whole point is really that controlled motion, that form. I only need one dumbbell for this, so I'll put the other one back. But yes. I'm not on Twitter. No. Look, man, consider what industry I work in. The fact that I'm on Twitch and Discord is already probably something that my employer would not prefer. The less social media I'm on, the better. And look, the last thing I want to do is be on a platform as radioactive as Twitter. Fuck that. I refuse to use Twitter on principle. Maybe I have Super Bowl on the brain, Joe, that football player vibe at the moment. Man, if people are telling me I'm built like a linebacker, that makes me very happy. I appreciate the compliment. Thank you. Heading out to be a nerd in place of Final Fantasy. Kick ass. Hey, Lesbian Hot says, you have a great day. Good on you for using the anger and the frustration to kick the ass of the final sets on your workout. Girl, you keep killing it. Always a pleasure to have you in my chat. You take care. I like the idea of getting more followers on Twitch, but would I be willing to plumb the depths of Twitter to do so? No. Absolutely not. Not worth it. Not in the slightest. Absolutely not. We're going to do that again with 25s. I'm still fat though. It's about maintaining and cutting. Exact opposite to you. For now. Remember, I only got one more month of the bulk. Let's go ahead and do... That's a good song. It's a little mellow, but... Nah. I can't do Judy Blue Eyes. It's a great song, but that's for cardio. That's for going on a hike, which I probably will do today because it sounds really nice. Ooh, Symptom of the Universe. That's gonna like it. All right, let's try this again. Set number 2. I really want to keep the elbow close to my face. I want to keep it kind of vertical. Get used to the form. There we go. God, come on. I'm nervous I'm going to hit myself in the head. That's the problem. Make you a Twitter like celebrity and management companies. I'm not sure I want that. I'm flattered, but I feel like that could go wrong in so many different ways. So yeah, French press definitely puts a lot of pressure on the elbow, but that's why you go really low weight. This is only a 25-pound dumbbell. We'll stick to that. Looking for a burp. Experience in social media marketing. No, here's what could go wrong, right? While, yes, I could probably get more followers if I had more social media presence, what could go wrong is a bunch of people who have been infected with Twitter brain rot come here and start blowing up my chat with all sorts of vile crap. Like, you know how radioactive Twitter can get. Why would I want that in my Twitch chat and on my Discord server? That's the problem. Quality over quantity as far as I'm concerned. I like growth. I'm slowly growing. My growth was a lot more explosive last year and in 2022, but we're nearing 2,000 followers, and I'm not doing this for the money, so I don't really care about, I care about the message far more than I care about the number of people listening to it. I love more people, but I don't want that at the expense of quality, you know? Try to get oxygen down in my stomach for a burp. I'm I don't try to be the dancing monkey too often, but you have been hanging around for a while. Well, give it a minute. Are you into guys that are bulky or lean? Depends. I definitely don't like, I probably won't go for, if it's going to be guys, I prefer an athletic look. Don't need to be absolutely, shredded vascular. Don't need to be absolutely, frail levels of lean. But if you're like super chubby, probably not my thing. So I'd say a sort of a middle ground, an athletic build, something similar to, if not a little better than my own. That's about where I would say. Really, if I don't like you like men who are twinks. I'm not usually a huge fan of that. It can be attractive, but the problem is a lot of those guys who tend to be on the twink side like have very little in common with me, and so the attraction is just not there. Yeah, all right, I got a burp building. No, there's more to it than that. I can feel it in my gut. All right, I need to do another set. We got 2 more left. So you just go real slow on these. Yeah, but most twinks have no interest in, staying in decent shape. There's more to it in there. Fuck. Oh, there you go. Done. Okay, it's all out now. Do you do any exercise with rubber bands? Sometimes I do, but that's usually more in my cut cycle. That's a lot more hypertrophy based stuff, so not at the moment. All right, we got 1 more set and then we're done. I grind in the gym to keep my twink physique. I grew up chubby and refused to go back. Well, then good for you. You're not like most of them, though. A little muscle is a good thing. Appreciate the follow there, Bert. I knew that took a while, but I mean, a little patience isn't a bad thing. All right, we got 1 more set left. Then we're done for the day. We'll talk a little. We'll do our Q&A session, then we'll call it. 1, 2. Always been skinny, so hard to gain any muscle. Do heavy breathing squats and drink milk. All right, that'll do it. We're done for the day. Not bad. I'm not opposed to a more femme style, like a femme body size, like a twink body size. That's not the problem. It's more often that those kinds of dudes and me have very little in common, and as a result, there's not a lot of compatibility. Really, when it comes to dating and attractiveness, my position is muscles are sexy regardless of gender. Simple as. All right, so let's see. We did we had 3 sets of shoulder press, 4 sets of push press, 4 sets of pin press, 4 sets of upright rows, 4 sets of jam press, 4 sets of French press, and 4 sets of floor press. I'd say it's pretty good. No, Dragon Knight, if you're looking to gain weight, so first off, you got to eat in a caloric surplus. Figure out your TDEE and eat more than that, probably 500 calories a day more than that. Milk is a really good way to do that. Then start doing squats, lots and lots of squats at heavy weight and high volume. That will put weight on you. If you want big chest, do squats. If you want abs, do squats. This is maybe because I'm the only twink counterfeit of the usual stereotypes. I mean, it kind of sounds like it. Speaking of protein, had my protein shake this morning, so I'm already up to 600 calories and 80 grams of protein, which is pretty good. Okay, so that is the end of the workout. You stayed at a commercial-like gym, but inside my house, like Michael B. Jordan. There's a room that legit looks like a commercial gym, so you never have to leave his pad. Dude, that sounds awesome. I mean, you don't need to save 20K for that. This whole setup was probably less than 10% of that. And, I mean, clearly it's working some results, isn't it? I'm gonna do squats today. Attaboy. Love to hear it. Liam, you don't need 20,000 for a gym. It's completely unnecessary. California school lunch, everyone is praising it, tastes it, no doubt. Good Lord, it would skyrocket my blood sugar. Remember, I can't look at those links while I'm live, but if you can describe it, we can talk about that. School lunches are not ideal. I will say this is, granted, a position of privilege. My mom, when we were younger, made us our lunches, and then when we got older, we'd just make sandwiches ourselves. She'd buy, bread and deli meat, and that would honestly be cheaper than getting a school lunch. Posted on diet on Discord. Oh, perfect. I'll take a look. Like the aesthetic and look of the gym. Hey, man, if you want to spend the money, that's up to you. I personally would not. I'm very happy with my rusty piece of junk there. If you do get that kind of gym, though, Liam, hit a boy up. I'll pop up to DC and we can hit a workout together, huh? Extreme chance. The whole hard, cold truth is one just has to do the work. If the setup is ratchet or expensive, the curl is the same, the squat is the same, the press is the same. I mean, there are some things where a nice, expensive piece of equipment is helpful. A full-on power rack, if you're hitting heavy weight, is probably a better idea than this rickety old half rack behind me. It'd be nice if I had like a floor or ceiling mounted, pull-up bar. I'd love a cable machine for hypertrophy. But those are all, that's kind of on the optional extras side of things. The meat and potatoes I can get off of this. Well, there's an Equinox a block away, 4 floors, there's so much equipment in a pool. It's only my laziness that keeps me from going more often. Well, the good news there, Dragon Knight, is that you've identified the problem. The second step is taking the actions to remedy the problem. Go today, bust some ass, and you know what? Post your progress right here. Have you IG? I assume you're asking if I have an Instagram. The answer is no. Here are the socials. Okay, first off, if you want to hang out with me more, Discord's the place. But if you want my socials, there you go. Back in my day, school lunch didn't have pickle slices that you could throw at the lunchroom windows, and it wasn't a school lunch. God damn it. Don't waste food. That's wrong too, even if the food is nasty. I'm gonna take a quick pee real quick. Again, sorry, I've been drinking lots of water. But then we'll do a little Q&A, and then we'll look to raid someone, okay? So, used to post my progress. We'll keep doing it. People can be mean. Well, ignore them. Yeah, am I looking the way I want to look right now? Look at this. No, obviously not. I got a fucking donut on my front side right now. But it's the bulk cycle. I'm looking at the numbers right now. As long as those strength numbers keep going up, I'll worry about the body fat in summer. Don't worry about that. Ignore what other people say unless it's constructive. See, it is 55 degrees in here. No wonder it feels so good. All right, that's much better. When I was fat, I had people telling me to hit the treadmill. Now I'm skinny and people say eat a hamburger. If you're happy with your body and you're not medically obese, then don't worry about it. If you want to add muscle, I'll tell you how to do that. You know, I will. The only thing, right, I never fat shame people, okay? I don't believe in fat shaming. I don't believe in skinny shaming. I don't believe in whatever shaming. The only shaming I believe in is excuse shaming. If you are lying to yourself about why you're not doing something to improve your own body, I will shame you for that. I will bullshit shame and I will excuse shame, but I don't fat shame. Do you go outside to pee? Well, I mean, I could go all the way into the house, but that'd take forever, and it's my land, so why the hell not? Yeah, I can pee wherever the fuck I want. It's my property. Get on my level. Well, I don't know. I agree with fat shaming. Fat shaming is good, actually. No, it's not. Fat shaming is toxic. Fat shaming is shaming someone for what they are. Excuse shaming is much better. If you are fat and you wish to remain fat and you have no problem with the consequences of being fat, that is your right as a person in a free society to do so. However, when you start demanding special treatment or acting entitled because you are fat, and you start making excuses about why you can't get fat, that's where I start. That's where the shame comes in. You people on TikTok saying it's okay to be obese. See, no, I disagree. Okay. So you can be beautiful at any size. You cannot make people agree with you that they are beautiful, that you are beautiful at any size. What you cannot be is healthy at any size. Healthy at any size is bullshit, and I will call out bullshit like that. If you are medically obese, you are statistically more likely to die early from a litany of different causes. You are statistically more likely to have health issues while you are alive, and you're statistically more likely to be less happy because your body is not physically in shape to support the stresses that go on your brain. That's the way I say it, right? Don't shame people because they're fat, because when you do that, you discourage them from ever trying to improve. It's so important for that person who is, maybe saying, it's time I did something about my weight. I'm going to go into the gym and start today. That person may not be lifting super heavy. That person may not be going 1,000,000 miles an hour on the treadmill, but that person's coming in and trying to do something right. You have to treat that. You have to treat that like a young plant, right? You have to treat that like a budding sapling that's growing into a tree, or growing into a bush, or growing into a stalk, right? You need to be very positive to people making those changes. Now, what you can't do, right, is let that mean you're already perfect. But you say, you know what, you're taking the actions to make a positive change in your life. You got to be really encouraging about that, because it's intimidating, right? If you're fat and that's your first time in the gym and you're alone, you're going to be scared. A lot of people are anyway. Now, what a lot of people forget is nobody's fucking watching you. Everybody else in the gym isn't looking at you. Everybody else in the gym is trying to get their own workout done. But a lot of people who are new to the gym don't understand that. You have to get over that. It's almost like a stage fright. So that's sort of where it comes down. You are more likely to have health issues when you're alive. What I mean by that is like quality of life. If you are obese, right, you may make it into your 60s or your 70s, but by the time you hit 50, your body will deteriorate a lot faster than if you're at a normal weight. I have a story from a friend who was very fat. He met a guy on a dating app who's into super fat people. Got one of my friend to eat even more to get even fatter. I mean, again, that's what I mean by beautiful at any size. You can be beautiful at any size. There are people who have fat fetishes out there. I'm not going to judge that because sexuality is it's a bit like, a really big rainforest. There is an incredible amount of diversity and everybody likes everything. Okay. There are people who like anything. You will find someone who's into something. But, right, there's a very big difference between that and saying, I'm obese, but I'm still a 10, and you should think I'm a 10, or otherwise you're fat phobic. That's stupid. That's bullshit. Sometimes it seems like the world is staring at you. Yep, and you have to almost say to yourself, nobody gives a fuck about me. That's what you have to do. You have to get in that mindset. The only person that cares about your workout is you. I don't know how good it is psychologically speaking. I mean, I'm not going to judge people for what they find attractive because I have my own preferences as well. My preferences are just as valid as anyone else's. What I won't do is say, right, so my preferences, I prefer muscular in general. I prefer people who have very athletic bodies, be it male or female or whatever. But, right, what I will say is that is a much healthier body archetype to go for than being fat. They're both subjective definitions of the word beauty, but one is objectively healthier than the other. Now, it can get extreme on the muscular side. If you're taking rocket fuel and, you're fucking roided out all the time, you're probably doing lots of damage to your heart and you'll probably live a lot less too. And that's okay, again, as long as you accept those consequences and you don't make excuses. You're someone's 10. I personally, you have to say no one gives a fuck about you, confidence and depression, honestly. Yeah, a little bit, FM. The Tech Show, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in here in a while. Good to see you. Personally, people have asked me what I would rate myself. The way I rate myself, and again, everyone's preferences are different. That's very true. I like to say to myself, okay, the average is a 5 statistically, right? It's going to be a bell curve. Most people are going to be kind of between 3.5 and 6.5. The average is a 5. What separates you from the average, and what are you defining as a 10? So for me, right, I like someone who is, and this is how I judge myself, someone who's got their finances straight, right? Has a plan for the future, has goals and objectives, and is willing to bust ass to achieve them, is physically fit. So for me, right, what I want isn't necessarily how I judge myself, but what most people want, right? Take, for instance, in general, height is seen as an attractive an attractive trait. At least for women, it definitely is, and for a lot of gay men, it is as well. So I'm 6'3". The average in the United States is 5'9". So I'm substantially above average there. I'm taller than probably 85 to 90% of men. So that's a +1 in my camp. That puts me at a 6. Okay? And we talk in shape, right? 5'8" is the best height, IMO. Exactly. See, everybody's opinion is different, but I'm talking about majorities here. Like, in general, right, it's a really stupid standard, and frankly, I wish a lot of women would give it up because you can't control height. And if you're one of these women that's sitting there and saying only 6 feet and up need apply, what you're doing is you're automatically eliminating 75% of the dating market. Don't do that to yourself. You're making your own dating life so much harder. And I'm telling you that as a guy who's 6'3". It's advantageous for women to do that, in my sense of the word. But it's not good. Just because it's in my own self-interest doesn't mean I can't recognize how overall it's not a good thing. Peachy, I love being 5'9", wish I was shorter. Do enough squats and you'll lose another inch. Taller guys are kind of hot, I'll admit. I like my height for me. Yeah, exactly. Be comfortable in your own body. But, so, there we go. That puts me at a 6. I am stronger objectively than most most guys, and once I finish my cut, and don't worry, that will happen, I'll look nice and, if not shredded, very well defined again. I look a little bit chubby right now, but that's a bulk. That's to be expected. Uh, so I'd say that probably gives me another +1. So that now we're talking about a 7, right? Then we talk about financially well put together. Women especially care about this. If you don't have your finances in order, that's a huge red flag for a lot of women. Again, I think it's a lot of times it's really stupid, but one of the standards I've seen on social media is 666, which is 6 feet tall, a 6-pack, and a 6-figure salary. That's first off, it's extremely shallow, but it is still a good barometer in the sense of a lot of people, especially women, care about those sort of things. Now I swing both ways, but most men would prefer to date someone else who's got their finances in order relative to someone who doesn't. So I've got my finances very much in order. Again, if I'm able to be financially independent in less than a year, in less than 2 years, that's a pretty good indicator, right? So at least 6 inches. That too, I've heard 6 inches or 6-pack. It can go either way. But my finances are in order there. So that's probably another 0.5 in my camp, if not a full 1. So now we're talking 7.5 to 8. Then down there size, I know what the average is. I'm not going to say where I am on air. If you guys are curious about that, ask me on Discord. But that one's probably pushing me into an 8 territory. Let's go ahead and assume I have any other positive characteristics I have are canceled out by any negative characteristics I have. Apply all of that, throw in a little conservative safety margin. I'd rate myself somewhere between 7.5 and 8.5. There you go. And it's again, what are you bringing to the table on the dating market? What is the average, and how are you setting yourself apart from that average, right? And those parameters will be different depending on whose attraction you're trying to get. Is it a guy? Is it a girl? What kind of interests do they have? What kind of compatibilities do they have? But in general, there are certain societal traits that are deemed attractive. Being in good financial shape, being in good physical shape, and being tall tend to be pretty popular. You're being stingy in your self-assessment. You're definitely a 10. I disagree. I think 10s are exceedingly rare. A guy like Travis Kelce is a 10. That's why he's dating Taylor Swift. And I don't pay any attention to that. But guys like that, Michael B. Jordan, right? That's a 10. Don't kid yourself about where you are. I have room to improve. I don't have a 6-pack right now. I've got you can kind of see the abdominal wall if I flex. This ain't no 6-pack. So I'm not at a fucking 10. I'm not financially independent yet. So I'm not at a fucking 10, right? As I get closer, I'm going to continue to strive to improve myself, but never really, if you're a 10, you'll know you're a 10 because you're going to constantly be fighting off people's advances. I'm not getting that out there. Do squats to get shorter. That was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek joke. Although I actually have noticed I'm 6'3", when I wake up, but if I've done a really heavy squat day, the compression, right, all that weight on my shoulders does actually about half an inch shorter. That's why I see a bulge when you're working out. No comment. Ask me more about that on the Discord. How important is that list to you? I actually have put out exactly what I find attractive. If I can summarize it on a little whiteboard here, so let's do that. So I think don't think the model body, quote unquote, makes a 10 though. I think there's a healthy medium where you're functionally fit, well built. You still look like you can pick out at Red Lobster. I tend to agree. For men, I'd say that's that 12 to really anywhere between 10 and 20% body fat, depending on how much muscle mass you have, can be very attractive. When you get into the single digits of body fat, I mean, some of those guys look incredible, but at the other side of the thing, I know how much work it takes to get down there and how restrictive you have to diet to get there. It sucks. Okay. Looking to start streaming leg workouts, never used app. Do I need to do a side angle for that to not get banned or whatever? Most of my content really will talk about things like politics and economics and dating. So I use these 18 plus, like my channel is 18 plus, not because I'm like aggressively trying to, be a thirst trap or whatever, but because like just between my natural anatomy and the stuff we talk about, I don't want to have to walk on eggshells to appease Twitch's censorship. So I'd rather say, I'd rather be, since I'm not blasting ads anyway, I go the minimum ads I can, 30 seconds an hour. Because I'm doing that anyway, I kind of say fuck it and just go with the content warnings. So that way I can speak my mind. I don't have to worry about that. Free speech. 18% is probably the sweet spot. I'd say 15%, but yeah, that general range. People who are shredded, IMO, or yick. I've been with some of those guys, and it's like being with a sack of rocks. How have your credit scores changed along your journey towards FI? My credit score has kind of reliably been always good, but not excellent, because I don't have enough debt to where I've proven that I can reliably pay it off. So I don't have an 800 plus credit score, but I'm not that far from it. It's not like you're talking censored in the censored and it's turning over to censored someone censored. Okay, so what do I find hot? So I can talk more about this on my Discord channel, but I'll go ahead and do a little brief summation, okay? So first thing, okay, it's not that this is shallow, right? But if I'm looking at someone in real life and they're not physically fit, well, look at how big a part of my life lifting weights is, and staying in shape and going out for hikes and walks and swimming and playing on the beach and all that fun outdoorsy stuff, right? If you're not physically fit, we're going to have a basic compatibility issue that probably can't be fixed. And that's going to more or less limit you to a 4 or a 5 on my scale at best, right? Maybe, something, not much more than the basic sort of, hey, I like hanging out with you. If these things changed, maybe I could see, trying a date, but we're not going any further until that changes, okay? I'm not trying to be mean, right? But I think that's a fair thing to say. If you're, look, I have dated people who are not in my league, physically speaking, before, and it just became this sticking point because I'm like, hey, I'm going to the gym. You want to come with me? Or, hey, I'm going to go for a big long walk. Yeah, it's 90 degrees out. Or why wouldn't you want to go? Yeah, it's warm. We'll take some water. Oh my God, that's a name. Hello. Thanks for the first time chat. Welcome on in. So I think this is, okay, so here's where I feel about, a lot of people say this is shallow. I will say it's only, it's only insofar as I am physically fit. So if it's the expectation I have for myself, thank you for the follow. I am on a bulk right now. I'll finish my bulk in about a month. I'm looking to gain about 6 to 10 more pounds. But I'm only caring about this insofar as, can you keep up with me? So I'm going to put that there. You don't have to be a weightlifter, okay, for me to find you physically attractive. If you're a swimmer and you just absolutely love to swim, and you're just, the pool is your sanctuary, but you can, like, I can tell you'll go and swim, loads and loads all day long, and that's just your thing, I can still find you very physically attractive because you keep yourself in shape with something you like to do, okay? So that's number one. And again, if I'm in real life, right, visually, that's the first thing I'm going to see about a person, right? Well, physically fit implies a healthy lifestyle. Maxtas, thank you for the first time chat. Yes, that's right. We'll get to that. Okay. Number 2. Really simple, okay? Don't be an asshole, okay? If you're one of these people that you go out to a bar or a restaurant and you treat the waitress or the bartender like absolute trash, that is such a turnoff. Why would you do that? This person's trying to make a living. Don't be an asshole, right? This one's so simple. Be kind, okay? Mr. Rogers said, what are the 3 most important pieces of advice you could give to anyone? First one's be kind, the second one's be kind, and the third one's be kind, okay? Listen to Mr. Rogers, okay? So, kindness is attractive. Number 3. Has life plans and goals. You got to be driven, okay? I come in here because I want to fucking improve, right? Why am I saving all this money to become financially independent? Because one of my biggest goals in life is to have the ultimate freedom, right? So what do I find attractive? I want someone who's in that same mindset. I want someone who's got that compatibility. I want someone who says, I want to do this in life and I am driven, so I have a plan on how to do this in life by doing this, that, and the other. Right? I'm going to do this, that, and the other. That's going to set me up to do this, which is what I want to do. Okay? So, physically fit, kindness, and ambitious. You got to have drive. If you are complacent and contented, you just want to sit at home and watch TV all day, you and I ain't going to mesh. And that's a huge turn off. Okay? So that's number 3. So far, I feel like none of these are unreasonable standards. Just fairness, okay? By the way, I'm going to go ahead and write obese with a little cross out here. I have dated people who are substantially. I'm done having project partners. I'm very often when you have a couple that are at very different levels of physical fitness, they will either gravitate towards one or the other, or the relationship will fail. And I've done that before. Maybe that sounds harsh, but if I'm busting ass to keep myself in good shape, I want my partner to do so as well, because I want to live a good long time and healthily too. And if you're not taking very good care of your body, be it obesity or you're a smoker or something like that, yeah, it's a turnoff. If you smoke, hard pass. So I'll go ahead and say that too. If you like to do drugs, if you are a smoker, I'm not all that interested in you. Tobacco is disgusting. I vape so bad. Yeah, vaping fucks up your lungs. Is vaping better than smoking tobacco? Sure, but in the same way that a diet soda is better than a regular soda, it's still terrible for you. Are you coming up with a list on the spot, or is this something you've thought through before? I've written it out on my Discord channel. This is just a condensed version, so I'm kind of condensing it on the spot. So these 3 right here, all right. So, first glance is going to be number 1. First date is going to tell me number 2 and number 3. Beyond that, if we move to second date, third date, and start a relationship, number 4, the biggest one, the biggest red flag is, do you have your financial shit together? I know that's mean, but look, that's a big priority for me. I'm only putting these expectations on a partner because I put those expectations on myself. I think that's a very fair thing to do. If you have expectations for yourself, you're not being delusional to have those expectations for your partner. So if you're trying to be the best version of yourself you can be, you should expect that from your partner as well, and you should want your partner to push you. So financial house in order, right? All right, hang on one second. Yo, I gotta take a leak. Sorry. Drank too much water is what happened. Okay, let's carry on. How do you gauge financial house in order on a first date? That's what I'm saying. The first date is 2 and 3. This number 4, this is going to be, if you've gotten second, third, fourth dates and we've had a little bit more rapport built. So, right, that's where I'm going. I was a cliche for a garbage fire. Looking back, I don't blame guys for not wanting to date me. Exactly. Thank you, Luke. And thanks for first time chat. Neighbors can't see me pee. I live in the sticks, dude. What neighbors? I turn my back to the one house that I have, and the other house is all the way behind a giant oak tree. Benefits of living in the middle of nowhere. Speaking of that whole financial thing, right? I save north of 80% of my paychecks, okay? That's the kind of, right, if I'm able to retire before I turn 30, right, I'm very much into financial discipline. So if you're a spendthrift, if you're someone who lives paycheck to paycheck or worse, has credit card debt, bye. I'm walking the fuck away unless you fix it and fast. Is that my first time chat? Luke the Loquacious, yeah, I was about to say, you're not particularly loquacious if that is your first time chat. So, well, I always love it when longtime lurkers chat for the first time, and it sounds like maybe that's who you were. So, hey, welcome to the bullpen. Glad to have you. And definitely please join the Discord if you do feel very loquacious. No, I don't ask for finances on a first date. I ask kindness and has life plans and goals. That's first date material. I will be able to figure out 2 and 3, right? So number 1 is first glance. Number 2 and 3 is first date. So if you're not passing the physical glance, I'm not going to want to try the first date with you. We can be friends, we'll hang out, but probably won't go on a date with you. Number 2 and 3, I can find out on the first date pretty easily. Okay? Number 4 is usually second, third, fourth dates, right? Change my handle to Luke the Lurking. No, don't do that. Thank you for the follow, first off. And Shaunavision, thank you for the follow as well. Don't do that, Luke. No, just start being more active in chat. That's much better. I would rather have 10 active people than 100 lurkers, because that's the whole point of this, is that I want to help teach people. I think I'm, frankly, not trying to be immodest, but I'm fucking successful, okay? I've done the math, statistically speaking, okay? My net worth for people in my age bracket is at the 96th percentile. My income is at the 87th percentile. I'm stronger than 95% of guys my age. I am taller than 90+% of guys my age. Like, you go across the board, and on the objective measures that are quantifiable, I'm doing far above average right now. So if you want to learn from me, right, you want to surround yourself with successful people and learn from them. So that's the kind of thing. But no, Luke, stick around, talk. We're very happy to have you. I'm glad you're here. So here we go. These are the first, and these are really the biggest 4. But beyond this, right? So financial house in order, and then number 5. This is second and third date. Common interests, okay? If you are someone who just, like, doesn't have a ton of things, like if we can't maintain conversations with each other because what you like to think about and talk about and do are very different from what I like to think about and talk about and do, we could probably have a few dates, but eventually it's gonna peter out, and we can remain friends, but that'll probably be the furthest it ever goes. There's nothing wrong with that, but you want to have compatibility. I think compatibility is a huge thing. So common interests, other common interests, having things to talk about is a big thing, right?
Number 6, okay? So you gotta get through all of this before we start talking about the fun stuff, right? And why do I say that? I am not much of a player. Part of this is because I live in what is the equivalent of the dating Sahara, but I'm just not a huge fan of one-night stands. I like to know somebody, I like to get to know somebody first and have some sort of emotional connection, at least a little bit, before immediately going to sex. That's just sort of how I feel about it. There's nothing wrong if you like one-night stands and you just want to hook up with people. Hey, that's your right. You do you. But that's not something I'm quite as keen on. But number 6, right? So let's say this is 4 and 5 is, the first several dates, first couple months of hanging out and getting to know someone, starting a relationship. 4 to 5, we'll find out pretty quick. If we keep wanting to hang out with each other, if we keep finding just, oh yeah, you want to come over and, have dinner at my house, I'll cook, we can just talk and just be together. Number 5, that gets filled out pretty quickly. Number 4 kind of goes with that because most of my common interests are pretty low expenses. And as a result, if you're like, no, I want to go, to the concert and get $300 tickets and, go to a 5-star restaurant every week, number 4 will be where it stops. So number 6, we get to this point. That's the fun stuff in sex. I know what I like, and we got to be compatible there, right? If you are someone who, we just have different preferences to the point where, we can't. It feels like the one person, right? Only one person is really enjoying the sex at one given time, right? So like, let's say, you're really into a specific kind of kink, and I'm not, or the other way, I'm really into a specific sort of kink and you're not. Only one person's doing it. The other person's going along because it's like, hey, I'm really appreciating how much you're getting out of this. It's not, that's not ideal. It's not necessarily a deal breaker, but you got to make sure the sexual compatibility, or at least there's satisfaction on both sides here. And this is where reciprocity comes in. Anyone who gets to the stage of having sex, in a semi-serious relationship should be looking to make their partner happy in the bedroom. You should be looking to give first and think about your own desires later. If you've gotten to this point, right, you have someone with a lot you've got in common, and hopefully there's some budding romantic attraction there. If that's the case, you should be wanting to do nice things for that person anyway. See number 2. You should be wanting to be kind. You should be wanting to put someone else's interests that you have feelings for above your own. And when you do that, that's naturally going to lead to reciprocity here because that person should feel the same way about you. Okay? Bull in a harness. Fucking comment, man. No comment. Smart ass. Actually, bondage is kind of fun, but... I keep forgetting that this is an 18+ channel, and if I wanted to, I actually could talk about any of that kind of stuff. Stop it. Reciprocity is my favorite word in the entire English language, far and beyond my favorite. It's so fun to say. My second is supercilious. Nice. Okay, so these are pretty good ways of how I break it down. There's a few other things right down here, but this is really what I'm looking for, and in this order. So if you are an asshole or you're physically unfit, you're not getting any further down the line, even if you have all this shit. Together. I know that sounds tough, but look, if I'm not physically attracted to you, well, how are we going to do number 6, right? I'm gonna sit there and downstairs, my body's going to be buffering because I don't find you attractive, and that's just going to hurt you, right? If I don't find you attractive, my body, I'm not going to lie, right? I'm going to have to sit there and think about something else to get into it, and that's no fun. All it's going to do is make you feel bad, right? Same thing. Number 7, into wild threesomes. Wouldn't be opposed. Really. Again, but then those two, there's got to be this stuff right here. And by the way, for those of you looking to date a guy, what I find here hot and the order in which I find it hot, the order in which I look at a person is not something that every guy does. Some guys see number 1 and jump straight to number 6. Those guys are usually called players, and they're not that interested in anything more than fucking. That's their right. That's what hookup culture is these days, but it's 1 and then 6 for a lot of guys. I don't tend to work like that. Frankly, my body count's on the lower end because of where I've lived. College Station, Texas is the best dating pool I've ever had access to. I'll put it that way. So, with that in mind, what does that mean? Well, in my 20s, I spent a lot of time focusing on myself and improving my value in the dating marketplace. So as a result, I'm doing pretty fucking well now. So I have a little bit more choices. I can afford to be more picky, especially, at some point I'll probably be looking to move out of this part of the country and moving to a part of the country with a better dating scene. And when I do, I'll probably have a lot of options, especially once the cut cycle comes through and I look a lot more shredded. What would you say percentage wise guys like you versus the average Grindr user? I don't know. I don't use dating apps. There's no point in doing that here. Look, I tried dating apps for a little while. First off, the ratio of men to women is horrendous on dating apps if you want to go the hetero route. And if you want to go the gay route, well, I live in the middle of the Bible Belt, so there's still nothing here. Doesn't work. Seriously, I've tried going on dates with a couple guys, but I had to go all the way down to like fucking Savannah for that. That's like a 2-hour plus drive. Kind of not into driving that long if I don't have to. I'm sorry, I just don't feel like driving 2 hours to go on a date that might not turn out to be worth anything. Now that you put down number 6, you need to give us a hint. I've posted what I like on the Discord. Hell, people have asked me to do the BDSM test. The problem is I don't have enough whiteboard space to really talk about that. I only have a couple inches left to work with here, and there's a lot that could go in this. Okay, fine. If you're curious, I will say this much. Common interests, this one actually, I'm going to write this too, because this applies to common interests, not just sexual compatibility. But, all right, I'm a switch. I like to try new things. Variety is the spice of life. Another common interest, I love trying new stuff. So if you're open to new things, we're going to get along, right? You may not be good at it. You may not know what to do, but life is too short to get scared and do the same things over and over again. That's how you stagnate as a person. So I'm a big fan of variety. Switch it up a lot. What percentage of guys are into relationships versus guys who are into hookups? I'm not the right person to ask that question to. I don't feel qualified to give an answer, and whatever answer I gave would be a guess in the dark. I have no idea. I really don't know. Prospective date guy. I also lift weights. Wait, you're on a bulk cycle? I'm on a cut cycle. I don't think this is going to work out, but can we still work out? Fuck yeah, bro. I mean, I'm going to be on a cut cycle in about 6 weeks, so I'm amazed how self-aware you are. Oh, I appreciate that. Good for you. Well, self-delusion is never a good thing. If you can't look at yourself and say, I could improve in X, Y, and Z by doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm trying to improve by doing X, Y, and Z. Like, if you believe you're a 10, if you believe you're perfect, this is actually the most toxic thing women tell each other. I'm gonna put the female gender on spotlight here. The second most toxic thing women tell each other is only use light weights and do toning in the gym. Don't use the squat rack. Don't use the bench press. That's toxic as hell, and it's also factually incorrect. The iron game is for everyone. Don't be afraid of the squat rack, especially if you're female. Toning is bullshit. Doing 50 rep sets with 5-pound dumbbells is just going to give you tendonitis. Don't do it. The most toxic thing women tell each other is, oh, you're a 10. There's nothing you could possibly do to improve yourself. Women do this and men don't. This is one thing I will say about men in general. We are way more honest with each other than women are in general. A lot of women will say, "Oh, my friends are all 10s." Well, what you're doing is you're enabling people, and you're not being honest with them. Good friends should be able to tell you, "Hey, you need to do X and Y to improve yourself, but you're doing great things here and here." You know, in fact, I have a story about this. I told a friend of mine who was actually, interested in talking to me, get my perspective, where I thought he was on a 1 to 10 scale, and I told him he was a 4. I said, "You could easily be a 6 or 7 if you did these 3 things." Why do women discourage each other from the squat rack? Because there's this misnomer that women bulk up in the same way men bulk up when they do heavy lifting, and it's not the case. Women get a very curvy athletic body, which is oftentimes what people think is, supermodel style body. Like Gisele Bündchen, Tom Brady's ex-wife. She's, one of the hottest women on earth, or a lot of people thought she was one of the hottest women on earth for years. She put in fucking work in the weight room. Don't kid yourself. But yeah, that's the thing. Now, if you want to get bulky, if you want to look like She-Hulk and you're female, it is possible, but you are going to have to put in years of work, and you may have to take steroids to get to that She-Hulk level. Don't worry about turning into She-Hulk, okay? If you're female and you're watching this channel, probably isn't going to happen. I wouldn't be too worried about that. So that's more or less it. I'm going to go ahead and post this, or I'm just going to go ahead and put this right here if you want to clip it or take a screenshot. Do that. I'm going to give you 10 seconds here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Let me go ahead and erase this. And oh God, my legs. They're completely seized up from squats yesterday. Holy shit, that's sore. Oh, God. Ouchie. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. And while I do, you guys can ask me whatever final Q&A questions you've got. Otherwise, we're going to probably look to raid someone pretty soon here. Been going for about a little more than 3 hours. So we'll call it quits here. And unless you guys have more questions. So if you do have more questions later and you want to ask them, join that Discord. I'm telling you, join the Discord, accept the rules, click the role select channel, get the roles you want for all the different channels. I really want to see the Discord get more active. I want to see more people in there because that's where I like hanging out. It's fun. Off to work, but I'm glad I broke my lurking silence after all this time. How about you go 2 for 1 there, Luke, and join the Discord. Her and I think the mystery guitar guy. That's cool. Oh, God. My legs. Oh, God, that's so painful. The soreness, my quads in particular, are just absolutely shot today. So I'll probably go on a bike ride. You shoot them up even more. Anyway, I think it is time for us to go and look for a raid. Yay! Awesome. Good. I hope to see you there, Luke. So let's see who we got live right now. We got Frenek. I raided Bam Bam recently. I don't think we've done Celsi in a hot minute, so I think we'll raid Celsi. Dang, bro, I thought I was sore. I mean, soreness is relative. It looks like we're out of questions, though, so we're going to go ahead and raid Celsi, y'all. Celsi does a lot of HIIT stuff. Really, really good, knowledgeable dude. Definitely really like his content. And if you like mine, give me a follow if you haven't already. If you want more, come check out the Discord. We're going to raid Celsi. And I will be live again at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. We'll be doing a rest day, probably playing RuneScape or Halls of Torment or something like that. So the raid message, y'all, is going to be Bull Rush, as always. You can type in !raid to copy it. In fact, I'll do that right now. There we go. You can use that. Raid message is Bull Rush. And as always, thank you all for coming out. Make good decisions, because those good decisions form your actions. Those actions form your habits. Those habits form your values. Those values form an ethos that can be the guide star through the rough waters of life. Much love, y'all. Come in for the raid. Big bull hug. And raid. All right, YouTube, it's been fun. Talk to you later. All right. Good to see you, YouTube.